So here it is, my first He-Man and the Masters of the Universe action figure from the Club Grayskull. This time is Hordak in its Filmation form, a figure I've been waiting for many years. So just arrived today and we're gonna open it together. Very nice packaging. So we open the first cardboard box to reveal this box, and in turn we reveal this other box that is inside this one. Ta-da! So cool. So cool. Here's the bio. See the background of the box right there. Hordak with one twisty tie here. Let's get rid of that. And let's get the accessories out first. Imp in chest form. This one solid piece, it doesn't open. If you play the Tapper game for Android, then you'll be super familiar with this guy. Tappers of Grayskull. Now, Imp in its normal form, and you can see here his eyes. This is a reissue of a previous figure. And this time Super 7 did the right thing when it comes to painting his eyes, so now they are both facing in the same direction, as it should be. Very cool minifigure. Looking very good. There's one joint here, and that's pretty much it. Solid piece, which makes sense to always have this aligned, these two parts here. Plus, what would you gonna do? Rotate here? What's the point, right? There's a rubber band down there. There's two main things to discuss here. One is the actual, say, basic design of the figure, and the other thing is the construction and articulation, materials used and stuff. So let's go for the first one, the design. This Hordak truly looks like it stepped out of the cartoon. I am so glad that after, I think the Masters of the Universe Classics line started back in 2008. Almost 10 years ago, and I think the first Hordak was released in 2009. I passed on that one because I don't think it wasn't really a representation of the Hordak I remember, neither from the cartoon nor the action figure. It showed some departures from both looks, so I wasn't happy with that one nor any of the variants that came after. I've been waiting all those years for this one, and it's finally here, and it's such, it does not disappoint. Colors, the design, it's all there. the face is perfect. And it looks great from whichever angle you look at it. Before receiving the figure, I sort of expected to give him a black wash in the cheeks and on his jaw to further define those lines, those robotic type lines that he has in his face. Now, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do that anymore, and one of the reasons is that on his jaw you can clearly see those robotic type lines that he has. Now on the cheeks, that's a different story, but the tricky thing is that the sculpt might be a bit soft in that area to pull off an effective wash. So I am a bit hesitant at the moment to do that. I might leave it like this. Let's quickly talk articulation. This guy has all the articulation we are used to having in Masters of the Universe Classics, except for an ab crunch. There is no articulation on the abs, which I actually like quite a bit, as if it would have taken away from the sculpt. So I'm happy with that. He does have a swivel joint here. On the face is of course on a ball joint, but movement is restricted. There's not much range of motion when it comes to looking up and down. You can turn side to side, unrestricted by the bone collar. The bone collar is made of a flexible plastic. Shoulder articulation as usual, bicep swivel, elbow joints, wrist joint, hips. We've got a huge range of motion, as you can see. You can do the Van Damme. You can go far as high as this and back. That's as far back as you can go. Knee joints, quite sturdy, and on the ankles as well. You can go forward and back and side to side. Let's talk a little bit about the difference you will see in these Super 7 figures compared to the previous Mattel ones. And as you may know, Super 7 doesn't have the molds for the older figures, and they are retooling everything. And one of the benefits of that is that now we have smaller peg holes on the arms and legs, and here I have Skeletor to compare. Ideally we would have invisible joints, but this is still an improvement. I have always thought these huge peg holes are an eyesore. Now we're doing better in that department. Same thing with the legs. Another thing with moving away from is having a basic torso that is covered by an armor or clothing of some sort. Again, I'm super glad we're moving away from that, because no matter how the figure is designed, they always look bulky. There's an extreme example with Seahawk, of course, but even before that, if you see, if you look at Bo from Princess of Power, I don't think anybody complained that he looked bulky, overly bulky. But to me, that always has been a bit annoying. And now with Hordak, not only the armor is sculpted into the same part of the torso sculpt, but also, if you can see, he looks slender, more slender compared to Skeletor. These lats are definitely slimmer, and while it might make him look a bit maybe out of place compared to the previous figures, it does accomplish a closer to the cartoon look, which I'm all for. For some reason he seems quite taller than Skeletor. I wonder if that's because of the torso sculpt or the way the hip joints are assembled. Speaking of that, that was another point of discussion before these figures came out, that the legs were joined at the hip in a very, the they're a bit outwards, more so than before. And it's true, this was fixed somewhat before release, yet they still protrude a little bit on the sides. For me that's fine, it doesn't bother me, but it's worth pointing out. And now let's try changing his arm. Okay, that thing's in there. Let's try this one now. Yep, okay, so definitely this is a case in which we will have to use our preferred method of handling plastic. Hair dryer, boiling water, fridge, what have you. I'm gonna try hair dryer. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back after almost a minute of using the hair dryer on his shoulder. Now you can pop it out. Well, I just did it and then put it back in just to show. Yes, there it is. It's out. I feel like I'm gonna disassemble the bicep joint here. And let's try putting the cannon in place. There it is. Very nice looking. This is a good opportunity to mention the plastic. Let's talk about the plastic on this figure. Definitely a different type of plastic that was used before by Mattel. This is something that you may have been able to pick up just by looking at pictures and videos. The plastic is it has this feeling of being a bit waxy. Although this could have been also whatever is sprayed on the figure before putting into package. It does feel like waxy, looks a little bit like made of wax, if that makes sense. And he has a particular rubber smell that I haven't smelled in an action figure in forever. So like a more rubbery type of smell. It was quite faint when taking the figure out of the packaging, but after heating it up with the hair dryer, it really came out, this smell. By no means this means that the plastic feels cheap. It really doesn't. But it's something to take into consideration. Thanks to Hordak's bone collar, you can put imp on his shoulder and stays in place. Well, that was my unboxing and review of Hordak from the Club Grayskull line, aka Filmation style Hordak from Masters of the Universe. Thank you very much and see you later.